Yo, what is good, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to Knicks Media. This is Richie, and in this video, I'll be breaking down Elfrid Payton's 2021 season for the New York Knicks. And if you guys do not know, I have a whole series on this channel where I break down each player, go over their stats, go over what they did well in, what did they need to improve on, and will they be with the Knicks for this foreseeable future. And Elfrid Payton, I'm sure all you guys are super excited to break down him. I know he's a fan favorite on the Knicks. Nah, I'm just playing, but I'm definitely going to give you guys my honest opinion on Elfrid Payton, go over his, his stats or what he did well in, what he did not do well in this season, and if he will be on the Knicks next year. I'm definitely excited to get into this video. If you guys are not subscribed to Knicks Media, make sure you smash that subscribe button, and if you want to check me out over on Instagram and Twitter, that is at NYKnicks_media. And if you enjoy the video, please do not forget to thumbs it up. With that being said, let's jump right into Elfrid Payton. So, Elfrid Payton was the starting point guard for the New York Knicks all season long. The New York Knicks were the 4th seed in the East. That tells you a lot. What is Elfrid Payton's role on this team? He was a guy that his positives were he put pressure on the rim and played defense. He obviously did not play a lot of minutes. He was not like the starting point guard that would play 30 minutes per game or even 25 minutes per game. He would, come into the game, I felt like the first 6 minutes of the first quarter, he would get subbed out until the second half, and then he would play the first 6 minutes of the third quarter, and that would be his job. Especially after we acquired Derrick Rose later on in the season. That's when Elfrid Payton's minutes really shrunk. But there were some times where Elfrid Payton had a couple good games where he would play all fourth quarter and he would actually put up decent numbers. Elfrid Payton had at least 5 or so really good games where he put up 20 plus points, shot 50% from the field, getting dimes, playing good defense, playing efficient basketball. But more often than not, he would definitely struggle. His shooting ability was definitely something to look out for, and his ability to run the offense was skeptical. So that's why I feel like Tom Thibodeau did not want to keep Elfrid Payton in the playoffs. Definitely an interesting move from coach that Elfrid Payton was a starter for the entire regular season when he was healthy, and then when the playoffs come around, he decides to bench him and he completely takes him out of the rotation. Knicks fans, including myself, were pounding the table for that to happen earlier on in the year so we can get into a routine of, the rotations. But Thibodeau decided to switch things up. He kind of panicked, I felt like, and changed up the rhythm of the rotations. And who knows if that was the reason we lost. I'm not going to get into that. But Elfrid Payton definitely provides some value on the squad. It's not like he did, absolutely crap throughout the year. We have to give him credit where it's due because he definitely did a lot of things well. So let's get right into his stats in 2021 with the New York Knicks. He averaged 10.1 points per game, 3.2 assists, 3.4 rebounds, shot 43.2% from the field, 28.6% from the three-point line, 68.2% from free throw. So these are his stats. Obviously, the thing that jumps out to you is the three-point shooting. If you're a point guard in the NBA and you're shooting under 30%, I don't know what to say. You need to be able to shoot. That's really where the NBA is evolving to. And a big reason for Elfrid Payton, I felt like whenever he was on the court, and I did not enjoy when he was on the court, was more because of the spacing. I felt like the defenses would, play a zone against us. They would force Elfrid to shoot. That would clog the paint because whenever somebody would drive, they would be sagging off Elfrid where they don't have to worry about him shooting. They'll be, containing the shooters on the perimeter. They would not let Julius Randle get to his spots. It would just be a really messy situation on offense because if you have a point guard that cannot shoot the ball from 3, it's a recipe for disaster in today's NBA, and I'm sure you guys can agree with that. But at times, Elfrid Payton would definitely attack the rim, and that's what he's good at, putting pressure. He's very crafty when it comes to the rim. He can finish with his left, with his right, with those floaters in the paint. That's what he did well in. So I felt like that's the one positive to Elfrid Payton's game. So with that being said, let's get right into what Elfrid Payton did really good with the New York Knicks this season. The number one thing is his defense. I feel like he was one of the better defenders for the Knicks this season. He wasn't the greatest defender. He would get exposed at times, but he was a big body. His physicality would be a guy that would put a lot of pressure on the point guard, the opposing point guard, making sure that he would not get to his spots. He played really good defense. I think it was against Steph Curry. Well, not really good defense because Curry dropped 30 points that game, but still, he did his thing by trying to contain him. It was more the system than anything, but Elfrid Payton was the guy that Tom Thibodeau trusted on the defensive end, and I feel like he did a really good job, and he deserves some credit. Another thing Payton did well in, what I mentioned to earlier, is attacking the rim. He put pressure on the basket. He was a guy that, the defense would sag off, but then he just explodes by you, finishes at the rim. He can, dunk on you at times. Sometimes he actually puts these crazy dunks. You're like, whoa. And there's also some times where he would, cross you up. And that's another thing I want to talk about, is occasional highlight reel. There's some times where Elfrid would just cross somebody up, absolutely break their ankles, drive to the rim, and have a really ridiculous, crafty layup. Like, Elfrid Payton has a lot of flashy ability inside of him. He just did not do it on a consistent basis. That was the only problem. So those are the three strengths I have for him: his defense, him finishing at the rim, attacking the basket, and his occasional highlights where he would just look like an absolute stud. So let's get into things that Elfrid Payton did not really do that well in this season. Definitely the number one thing is shooting. He struggled from beyond the arc. 28% from three is inexcusable. Let's see if he can improve on that, but I don't think he's going to be on the Knicks next season. But spoiler alert. Another thing he did not do well in is his playmaking. I felt like he used to be really good at passing, but at times he felt a little selfish. He was a guy that would hold on to the ball too long. He would dribble up. He would be dribbling the clock out, and all of a sudden there's 10 seconds left in the shot clock, and he did not pass yet. And then he either puts up a bad jump shot or he passes it and it's too late. He would not be able to get a good grasp of running the offense, and that was definitely frustrating. Another thing is spacing. I mentioned this earlier as well. Whenever he was on the floor, the spacing was not good for the Knicks offense because they would sag off of him, and it would be a recipe for disaster. I mentioned it earlier. You guys know what I'm saying with the spacing. Another thing, he was at times selfish. There were some times where he would hit a bucket and then he would be like, all right, this is my team. I need to just do the same thing over again. He would miss over and over again. He would never really feel like, oh, I need to get my teammates involved. Kind of felt like Elfrid Payton was kind of fighting for his job throughout the entire year. He wanted to prove to the coaching staff, like, hey, you need to play me. I'm good at basketball. I'm going to try to score. He would try to do a little too much instead of being a team basketball player, getting his teammates involved, getting the hockey assists, moving the basketball, the fluid motion. That's the one thing I lacked from Elfrid Payton. He kind of seemed a little too selfish to the point where I need to prove to the coaching staff I need to be playing. I need to be playing for a contract. That's what it felt for me personally. I could be wrong. It's just my opinion. And then the last thing he did not do that well in is it goes with playmaking, is running an offense. It didn't really feel like he had the ability to call the plays, run a pick and roll fluidly, get some spacing. Everything that I'm saying, it all comes down to running an offense as the point guard. If you're the floor general, you need to be able to get the people in the right spots, dish it down low. If RJ Barrett's cutting to the rim, you need to be able to dish it to him, which he never did. That's another thing. Elfrid Payton did not do a good job of setting up RJ Barrett in particular. The amount of times I've seen RJ Barrett wide open in the corner or wide open down low with his hands up, or even Obi Toppin, Elfrid never really passed him the ball. He obviously passed it to him, but not at the rate where he could have been doing. So that's really my thoughts of Elfrid Payton. Now let's talk about his future on the Knicks, if he will be here next year, because he is a pending free agent. I think he's done. I don't think he's going to be on the Knicks next year, especially after the playoffs, where we didn't even give him any minutes after game 1 or 2. He did not even come off the bench, and obviously Elfrid Payton's parents went crazy on Twitter saying it was upsetting, but whatever. I think Elfrid Payton's time as a New York Knick is over. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think Elfrid Payton will be re-signed with the Knicks? Because I thought he was not going to be here next year, but we did end up re-signing him, so I could be wrong. But if I guess, Elfrid Payton's not a New York Knick next season. Let me know your guess down below. Will Elfrid Payton be here in 2022? I appreciate all the support here on Knicks Media. It means a lot to me. Let's go Knicks, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace out.